The Ford Escape ST Line Select is a little bit unique. It's got some pretty cool interior highlights, like some carbon fiber-esque type of highlights, and then some interesting parts with the seats. It honestly reminds me of the ST Line Edge. It's pretty neat. Now this specific one is in the vapor blue metallic exterior. Looking at the ST Line Select, you're going to find it with either a 2-liter turbocharged engine or as a 2.5-liter hybrid. You're going to find the ST Line Select with 18-inch wheels standard. There is the option for the 19-inch though, which look kind of sharp. But the 19-inch and, well, technically the 18-inch, they do have a little black cap in the middle. So Ford black cap, which looks pretty sharp and makes it pop that little bit more. Unlike some other models of the Escape, one great thing about the ST Line Select is that we've got body color pretty much everything. So we've got our body color, rockers, moldings all the way throughout, and even the caps on the side view mirrors are painted body color instead of black, like what you'll find in some other versions of the vehicle. This specific one has the Tech 1 package, which is going to give you things like the adaptive cruise control system, and then there's the larger 13.2-inch multimedia screen. There is the option for the Tech 2 package, which is going to give you the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, 360 camera, and a number of other great features. Honestly, for the extra, it's like $2,000 difference between the Tech 1 versus Tech 2. It might be worth looking at that package if you want more technology, you want better audio quality and things like that, but it comes down to what do you personally want. Some things that are going to be standard though across the entire Escape lineup, including the Select, are going to be the LED headlamps. But I like the styling here because this thing does have mostly body color for the bumper. There is a silver highlight on the bottom part of the bumper though. Inside of the grille are traditional Ford blue oval. If you did have the added tech package with the 360 camera, that camera would be located just underneath that Ford logo. It's a pretty nice option. Now I did mention underneath the hood, this thing's got the option for either the 2-liter turbocharged engine. There is also the option for the 2.5-liter hybrid, so it's going to be a matter of what do you want. But taking a peek under the hood, you've got this, the 2-liter turbocharged engine. And this thing, power-wise, is amazing. 250 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. You put your foot down and you are going. It's really, really nice. The Escape in general has a few different options that are available. There's a 1.5-liter turbo, the 2-liter turbo, the 2.5-liter traditional hybrid, and then the 2.5-liter plug-in hybrid. So power-wise, all over the place there. Like when you look at the Escape ST Line Active with the 2.5-liter regular hybrid, 192 horsepower and 155 pound-feet of torque. So it still is pretty respectable looking at power. But when it comes down to choosing which model of the Escape that you look at, you have to ask yourself, what do you want out of the ride? Do you care if it's front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? What engine choice do you want? If you ask me, I personally prefer the 2-liter turbo. I love power. I don't really necessarily care about fuel economy as much. But if you're fuel conscious, you could look at the traditional hybrid, which is just going to recharge based off of your driving habits as you go. And then you've got the plug-in hybrid, which you're plugging in to recharge, and then it uses regenerative braking as well to give you added mileage as you go. So it's going to be a matter of what do you want? Do you want to just be able to run in strictly electric mode? Do you want more power? So that's a question you have to ask yourself, but that's also going to dictate which trim level of the vehicle that you go with. I did mention the ST Line Select is strictly going to be available with the 2-liter turbo or with the 2.5-liter traditional hybrid. So if you want that 1.5-liter, you've got to go to a lower trim. And then if you wanted the plug-in, that's its own specific trim level as well. So literally all over the place with features, options, and things like that. Play around with the Ford.com and .ca website though to figure out which way you should go. But if you're looking for this specific vehicle, check down in the description because I have put together build links and links off to Ford.com and .ca websites in order for you to go for this specific model. Towards the back end of the Escape, I do like that we've got the body colored bumpers there. Little black highlight underneath, and then that body color highlight a little bit lower right above our 4-pin provisions because this one has the tow package. So when you look at towing inside of the Escape, you're going to have at least 1,500 pound towing capacity inside of the hybrids. And then the 1.5 is going to bump it up to 2,000 pounds. The 2-liter is going to bump it up to an impressive 3,500 pounds. So that's something you're going to have to take into account when you decide to choose your Escape as well. If you're going to be towing, what are your towing needs? If you want the most possible towing capacity, the 2-liter, 3,500 pounds, definitely has you covered. Looking at lift gates, there's the option for manual in pretty much the base trim level, your power lift gate outside of that, and then looking at the Tech 2 package, that's also going to give you a foot-activated power lift gate. Now, having said that, this one doesn't have foot-activated power. It's strictly going to be regular power. So we can open it up on our key fob. Just to the left-hand side of the steering wheel, there's a series of buttons we can push to open up. And then just underneath the C in Escape, we can push there in order to be able to open this thing up too. So you've got a few different options that are available. Now, looking at the cargo area, there's nothing off to the right side. Off to the left side, you're only going to find a 12-volt power point. And then this just has the regular carpeted liner. There is the option for the thermoplastic rubber tray instead, right from the factory or aftermarket. So if you're getting messy, you want to make sure that you can just pull off the trays and spray them down. Honestly, that's probably one of the few investments that I normally recommend inside of these cars, well, any car really. Getting the rubber trays for the cargo area and then for the first and second row. Big benefit there, like I said, rather than trying to clean off carpet mats, which are a little bit of a pain in the neck, the rubber tray, you just pull it off, spray it down, and Bob's your uncle. It's super straightforward. Underneath this tray, there is a little bit of storage along the left and the right side. A little white spigot if we ever need to fill up using a jerry can. And then there's a mini spare tire. And it's nice because the mini spare tire is now a standard feature inside of the entire Escape lineup for both Canada and the States. Now, if you're not a fan of changing tires yourself, like you do have the jack underneath the tire, you could call Ford Roadside Assistance instead. And Ford Roadside Assistance is going to be good for the same as the powertrain. So it's 5-year, 100,000 kilometer in Canada, and then 60,000 mile down in the States. And that covers you off for changing tires, fuel service, winching, and a number of other things. So think of it like CAA or AAA down in the States, but it's tied strictly to the vehicle and not to the driver, where you can use it on any car. Folding down the seats is also really straightforward. So along the side, we've got a little release. We're just gonna pull, drop down. And when we do that, it just opens this thing up so much. So if you need more space, you've got it. Looking at the cargo measurements that I use, it's always based off of having the driver's seat set up for someone who's 6 feet tall. Filling up fuel inside of the Escape is also straightforward. So just along our driver's side, we've got a capless system. So just plug in, insert, and you're good to go. Regular 87 gas is all you need to use inside of us, so 87 octane. But having said that, I do mention it in my videos, if you want the truest horsepower and torque numbers, so the ones that we were looking at on under the hood, those are all achieved using a 94 octane. Now, having said that, gas prices are crazy. 148 right now, so 148 a liter. It's come down a little bit, but still, putting premium inside of this thing is going to give it better response, but at the same time, it's not necessary. So it'll still run great off of regular 87. It's just that if you want the truest possible performance, you want to use like a 91 or a 94 octane instead. It's just not necessary. You do have the option for crossbars and things like that if you are going to be putting anything on the top of the vehicle. But a few things, this one does have the blind spot monitoring system. So it's going to highlight orange on our side view mirrors when somebody's entered the blind spot in our vehicle. You might have the option for keyless entry, but one nice thing is that as long as you've got the key fob on you, you can tap the door in order to lock it, or you can slide your hand in the door handle there in order to get inside. Along the driver's side door, there's a nice carbon fiber type of a highlight along part of the door near the handle. It wraps all the way through, which looks pretty sharp. There are a few bottle holders, and then just a regular speaker system. Looking at the Tech 2 package, that's going to give you the upgraded 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, which sounds amazing. Don't get me wrong, this 6-speaker system is good, but the 10-speaker is just like a step above. It is a really solid system. So if you're a huge audio listener and you love your music, you're probably going to want to go that route. But This is nice, and I love it because we're in the ST line Select, well, ST line in general, you do have red stitching along the door, and that wraps through the steering wheel. It's really cool. Even through the seats, like that red highlight is there, and it looks really, really nice, especially with the base seat design inside of this thing. And the Escape in general, you're going to find either cloth seats, you've got vinyl cloth mix, you've got the ActiveX seating material, or a full leather seat. The seating is just going to depend on which version of the Escape that you're in. And like the seats are actually, they're comfortable. Did mention you've got a series of different seats that are available, but I mean this one, it's like the vinyl cloth seat mix, it's nice. And with the seat all the way down and no panoramic sunroof, because this one just doesn't have it, I've got, what's that, like 5, almost 6 inches of headspace there. It's actually kind of ridiculous, but amazing all at the same time. So 6'5", you'll probably comfortably be able to sit inside of this thing. The steering wheel inside of this is really nice, and it's got like a little flat bottom to it as well. And I mean, like that flat bottom, you just really don't see that inside of many cars. So the climate control settings, whether that's going to be fully digital or if you still have the old school Escape style for climate, is going to depend on which multimedia screen that you've got. Because when you look at the smaller 8-inch screen, it almost looks like the last gen Sync 3 system, but it's not. It's different because it's wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. But when you have that smaller screen, climate control settings are going to be just down our center stack. Versus in this larger 13.2-inch, climate control settings are baked right into the digital screen instead. The big one with Tech Pack 2, when you get that, is going to give you the fully digital cluster screen, because we've got 2 options that are available. So it's either going to be a smaller screen, so an 8-inch screen, or there's a full 12.3-inch digital screen instead. And I love the look of that digital screen. It is solid. Not saying this isn't nice, but I love the fully digital one instead. But if you want walkthroughs, like you want to know how to use the steering wheel buttons, the cluster screens, or navigate through the Sync 4 media screens, check down in the description of this video. I've put together a bunch of comprehensive videos explaining how everything works. This is going to be the larger, so 13.2-inch Sync 4 media screen. You've got factory navigation built in, a series of different options for sound settings and things like that. So factory nav is nice, so we can just do a push there and we can get full screen, which is great. Super responsive, pinch to zoom capabilities on top of that, which is great. Ton of options for searching for addresses. There are built-in point of interest icons. You can search by GPS coordinates, so latitude, longitude, things like that. It's really nice. Now this is connected built-in navigation, which means that you've got 3 years of connected service. After those 3 years, if you don't subscribe to the service, it's going to just default to a regular GPS instead. But you still could use Google Maps, Apple Maps, or Waze through your phone if you wanted to. Looking at audio, series of different sources that are available, so AM, FM, Sirius XM, Bluetooth if you were hooked up on your phone. This one has a USB device inserted there on top of that.
Some food in you. Step 3, be grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a...
So the audio system inside of this, the 6-speaker, is actually pretty respectable. You can adjust treble, mid-range bass, and things like that right through the screen. But like I said, the 10-speaker is just infinitely better. It's deeper bass. It just sounds nicer. But I mean, having said that, this is pretty dang good at the same time, so easily add in a phone for connecting over Bluetooth or wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Series of different driver assistant settings and things like that. So we've got Ford Assistant, and that's going to be a voice command prompt to be able to do things like change songs, radio stations, climate settings, and things like that. So a lot of different options that are available. A series of other features. So we've got a series of selectable drive modes, normal, eco, sport, and slippery, which are going to do a few things. Driver assistance settings. You can play with your traction control, cruise control, lane keeping system, blind spot system. So if somebody enters the blind spot on either side of the vehicle, side view mirrors are going to highlight, letting us know of a potential collision there. Cross traffic alert. So if somebody's coming perpendicular, it's going to warn you, and then it can potentially brake for you as well. There's towing options there too, so we can see a few things. So we can add in our trailer. We've got trailer sway control. So if the vehicle senses there's trailer sway going on, it's automatically going to apply engine braking to get that sway under control. And a fully digital owner's manual too. climate control settings are built right into the screen. So you've got heated first row seats, dual zone climate control, heated steering wheel available there as an option. Control what's going on with our fan speed. Do we want climate going to our windshield face feet? Some sort of combination. Max windshield defroster, rear window defroster. Moving down, there is a nice highlight here. So carbon fiber highlight that wraps all the way throughout the dash. It looks sharp. Got 4-way blinkers, start-stop system, driver assistance setting button. This is the auto start-stop system, so that's the one that's potentially going to kill power to the engine if we're stopped for an extended period of time. Max windshield defroster, and then a hot button press to get to our different drive modes. Moving down, if yours had a wireless charge pad, wireless charge support would just be there, but this specific one doesn't have that wireless charge option. 2 USB power points, so traditional USB, then a USB Type-C, and then also a 12-volt power point off to the side. Moving down, nice metallic highlight there that follows all the way through. You've got your rotary shifter with park reverse neutral drive, and then a dedicated low gear. When you go into reverse there, because this one has the reverse sensing system, we've got the reverse sensors off to the side. If yours had the forward sensors, that would show up. And then obviously if you had the 360 camera, you'd have a series of other options available there too. Moving down, there's the electronic parking brake, auto hold, so if the vehicle's in drive, take your foot off the brake, the vehicle's not going anywhere. It's a great safety setting. Series of cup holders, a little storage tray there on top of that. Then you've got the armrest with tiny little bit of storage there too. Some models of the Escape have either a manual dimming or auto dimming rearview mirror. This specific one has a manual dimming rear view. Overhead from there, you've got a few basic cabin control lights. This one doesn't have the panoramic sunroof like I mentioned, so just regular cloth liner along the top. But the panoramic is nice because it just opens things up so nicely. Beautiful. But like I said, this one just doesn't have that available as an option. It's a factory order option. Traditional Ford styling with sunglasses holder. The visor has a business card holder on the outside and on the inside. There's a vanity mirror with lights built right in. And then this thing's also going to extend out to block all of the sun that might be hitting your face, which is nice. But so the redesign of the Escape is really nice. I love what Ford did with this. One thing you're unfortunately not going to find inside of this vehicle are going to be ventilated first row seats. Hopefully we see it, but it's not available in the Escape as of right now. So strictly going to be heated for the first row as an option. So that's one thing I would also like to see inside of the Escape. The second row of the Escape. Plenty spacious. I'm 6 feet tall and I've got a ton of knee space, which is great. And that's with the driver's seat set up for myself being 6 feet tall. I've got a pretty good amount of foot space, knee space, and even head space is pretty great inside of this thing. So without the panoramic sunroof, I've got 4+ inches of head space, which is amazing. The seat itself is fully adjustable in the sense that we've got a bar between our legs if we want to bring the seat forwards, backwards, which is great. And then just to the left-hand side, there's also a release. So that's the one that we would pull in order to lower the seat. But you can go the opposite way if you wanted to give it a slight recline. That's not a big recline, but still it's pretty nice. And then you do have a lot of the same highlights back here that you saw in the first row. Because this is the ST line, you've got the red stitching that follows all the way throughout the seat. But if you've got kids, we've got all of our anchor and tether points too. So front-facing, rear-facing child seats, you're not going to have a problem with whatsoever inside of this. If you've only got 2 kids, they're fighting. A few cup holders back there too. Separate them. Just behind the driver, or the passenger side, we don't have one behind the driver, but there is a pocket behind the passenger side seat. Behind the armrest, you've got some basic vent controls and then a few USB power points. So there's 2 USB Type-C to go along with our USB-A and our USB-C that's just in the center stack there. You do have a handle. There's a hook and then a light, and that is the same driver-passenger side. So you've got the handle, hook, and light there too, which is great. So I think Ford, they did a really good job on the Escape interior. Looking at the first row, it's really nice. The second row I'd say is like fairly relatively unchanged from the 22 to the 23 model. I do wish there was the option for second row heated seats back here. Not available as of right now. So a few small things that I would like to see in like the next gen Escape would be ventilated first row seats as an option and heated second row seats too, but wishful thinking maybe? Who knows? But, ooh, that's responsive now. Interesting. Okay. Ooh, and the lane centering system's on there too. Nice. Okay, so it's not quite as good as Ford's Blue Cruise system, but the lane centering system is still pretty good. So the Blue Cruise system is complete hands-free driving, versus inside of the Escape, you've got either the lane centering system or the lane keeping system. They work two different ways. So the lane centering system is the one that keeps you perfectly balanced in your lane as long as it recognizes the lane markings. The lane keeping system, in comparison, is the one that if you start to veer over into a lane without signaling, it's going to gently nudge you back into your lane. And then the other option would be for it to give you a little bit of a steering wheel shake, or it does both. So a bit of a shake and it'll nudge you back into your lane as well. All right, 2-liter turbo, what do you got? It's a respectable amount of power, like for a car this size. And that's one of the things I love because it's such a light vehicle at the same time. It pairs really nicely with the 2-liter turbo. I mean, like really nicely with the 2-liter turbo. This is great. Little highway drive test, see how it handles. Even this, like this is the intelligent all-wheel drive system, so it's the all-wheel drive, and that's pretty nice, but here we go. That is really good. Oh, that's really good. That's the 2-liter, baby. 2-liter turbo. That'll do it for you. I like it. I've got the adaptive cruise system going, lane keeping systems on there, lane centering systems turned on there. And that's one cool thing. So it's not, like I said, not full hands-free like what we're going to find inside of the Blue Cruise system. But, I mean, the lane centering system is pretty dang close. And that was a look at the 2023 Ford Escape ST Line Select. What'd you think? Nice ride, neat color with this vapor blue, and I'm very curious to see if this means that we're going to end up getting a full ST model Escape. Fingers crossed, but time will tell. If you found this video useful, thumbs up, share it with someone if you think they might find it helpful, and until I see you next time, take care.